Hello everyone, and welcome to Dishonored, the Knife of Dunwall. So, after my playthrough of the main story arc of Dishonored, I thought I would kick straight on with the DLC story, so that hopefully we can get the whole of the first game done in time for Dishonored 2, and so that I can play that one as soon as it releases. So, first and foremost, I need to say I have just got back from climbing Ben Nevis in Scotland. And if you, for some reason, don't know anything about Ben Nevis, it's the tallest mountain in the UK, and I climbed it in the middle of summer, so I am slightly broken and also slightly sunburnt, and I'm feeling kind of terrible right now. Putting a brave face on it, but hopefully it's not going to affect my gameplay and commentary too much, but if I make a ton of mistakes, then that's probably going to be the excuse that I will give. Okay, let's start a new game and get straight in here with the story of Dowd. None like her. You can't forget what you've done. Killing the Empress and handing her daughter Emily to the Lord Regent haunts you.
One more job shouldn't have mattered. I'd killed nobles before. You could float a whaling ship, and the high-born blood I've spilled. Another noble steps in to replace the last one. All equally corrupt. Why should an empress be different? But she was. I watched her bodyguard's face as they took him away. Dead eyes. I knew I'd pay for this one. Maybe I deserved to. A storm was coming that would shake apart everything I'd built.
No! Get away from her! Corvo! Mommy!
Okay, so as Dowd kills the Empress, he is visited once again by the Outsider, or rather he is transferred to the Void, and then we can go and speak to the Outsider. So it's interesting obviously to see the intro of Dishonored through the eyes of Dowd as he watches Corvo become Dishonored. You killed her, 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 you killed her. Now, yes, Dowd's blink is slightly different to Corvo's. Move rapidly from place to place unnoticed. You can move horizontally as well as vertically and aim at ledges to climb over them. Time will freeze if you stop moving while you aim, even mid-jump. This gives you time to plan an escape or perform feats like changing direction in mid-air. Hold left trigger to target while targeting a spherical marker indicates where you will end up. To freeze time, release all movement controls, including A. So, basically, yeah, as we wind up a blink as Dowd, it does actually freeze time for us. And if we, when we're in mid-air, if we let go of every control, every key or button on the controller, and then wind up a blink, we can freeze time in mid-air, as you see. So this lets us chain blink across areas, or change direction in mid-air, so we can say blink over a wall, and then blink back under it in a different direction, and that kind of thing. It's a lot more fun to use, and it's also a lot more versatile than Corvo's blink. But one of the best things about it is that the noise of Dowd's blink, which is also referred to by him and his whalers as transversal, the noise is different to Corvo's, and I think it sounds a lot more satisfying. It actually sounds like reality shifts around you as you use it. So if we listen to it here, it's just somewhat better produced, the sound of it. It feels more tactile and somehow more satisfying. But this is just a simple blink exercise. Now, the game obviously assumes that you have played through Dishonored, or at least played some of Dishonored before you start, so it's easier on the tutorial stuff, which is fine, because we already know how to play. But Dowd does have enough different things to make this feel... It feels different enough from Corvo that we can... it feels valid as a new experience as well as an expansion of the original.
Dowd, my old friend. It's been a long while, but you've got my interest again. How the years pass and the bodies fall. Did you know that there are only 8 like you in the world, bearing my mark? I'm here because you're right. The Empress was different. This time, you can't just fade away into the shadows. There will be consequences. Your story is close to ending, and even you can't escape it. But what ending will you make for yourself? I'm here to give you one last gift, Dowd. It's a mystery. One that starts with a name. Delilah.
A captain of industry, Bundry Rothwild is a ruthless businessman who owns a slaughterhouse and a fleet of whaling ships, including a ship called the Delilah. Infiltrate the Rothwild slaughterhouse and find out what's behind the name. So the outsider has just given us this name Delilah, which is going to be important to Dowd in the coming sort of days, and coming to the end of his story as the Knife of Dunwall, which is a nickname given to him because he is a master assassin. Now, one thing that is important to bear in mind is that Dowd's story begins, or rather the story of these 2 expansions begins 6 months after he murders the Empress and hands Emily over to Hiram Burrows. What happens is, when the outsider gives him the name Delilah, around the same time that Corvo breaks from Coldridge Prison at the start of Dishonored. Okay? And then Dowd's story plays out alongside the story of Dishonored and ends at the point in Dishonored when Corvo visits the flooded district and confronts Dowd, which we already did, of course, in my Dishonored playthrough. I did it a certain way so that it would tie up coherently with the way that I'm going to do this, which is, of course, low chaos, no kills. However, that is going to be markedly more difficult than it was in Dishonored, because these expansions really sort out a lot of gameplay things from Dishonored, and the areas and the levels themselves are a lot bigger, a lot more kind of intense, and a lot more varied, and generally a lot more challenging, which is, of course, a good thing.
For 6 months, the city writhed and changed. For 6 months, I tried to forget what I'd done to the Empress and her little girl. But there was no forgetting. I needed to find my next move. But all I had was that name. Delilah. Who was she? A threat? Or an ally? Word came from my second-in-command, Billy Lurk. In a house built on secrets. Lurk was especially good at uncovering them. There was a ship called the Delilah that hunted whales for Bundry Rothwild. A former deckhand who'd made good. Now he owned a slaughterhouse, and he ran his workers like a prison gang. A ship named Delilah. It could be a coincidence, but it's not. In Dunwall, things are always tangled up like a bag of snakes.
Favours. As Dowd, you can use your network of spies and corrupt merchants to purchase equipment and upgrades before each mission. You can also pay for special favours. These favours can have a variety of effects in the mission, such as granting access to equipment caches or revealing secret information. So, one of the different things about the Dowd missions is that you don't have a Hound Pit style hub area to visit in between missions. the missions are tied together by sort of exposition cutscenes, as you just saw narrated by Dowd. And of course Dowd is voiced by the excellent Michael Madsen, which is good. So at the start of each mission you get this screen, which is similar to the upgrade screen of when you speak to Piero in the Hound Pits as Corvo. So we have 2,000 coins to start with, and we can buy supplies, upgrades, and favours. Favours add things into the mission. For example, this gives us a code to a safe which contains one of several ways into the Slaughterhouse. This one, for 150 coins, adds a rune. A bribed labourer will misplace a rune he found in a crate full of old scrimshaw bound for the Academy of Natural Philosophy. The rune will be hidden in the sewer that spills out into the river. So, we obviously use runes and bone charms the same way as we did with Corvo, but we are going to need quite a few initially to get the powers that I want in order to play in the way that I want. So we're going to be quite thorough with collecting runes initially. So I am going to buy that. Silent sabotage. A bribed worker will disconnect the security on the refinery valves. Using the valves will not sound the alarm. That is more of a high chaos solution to the mission, so I'm not going to use that. But I will take the safe code. That leaves us with 1725. I am immediately going to buy combat sleep darts, which is the same as in Dishonored, where even if a guard is alerted, shooting him with a sleep dart will subdue him instantly. Definitely worth it. We also have sleep dart capacity, which increases the maximum sleep darts to 13. That's definitely worth it. And there are some things here. Now, instead of a crossbow like Corvo has, Dowd has a wrist bow, which is like a miniature version on the inside of his sleeve. But it works exactly the same way. So we have several upgrades for it here, but I don't really have the coins at the moment. And what I do need to do is fill up on sleep darts. That leaves us with 495. We have 2 remedies and 2 elixirs at the start, so I'm going to buy another remedy. I got the poison, I got the remedy. What does that leave us with? 395, so wrist bow accuracy, we could take that, but actually I am going to get some more remedies. That's going to do us. Let's get started.
Dowd, you're here. I got bored, so I started without you. Turns out we're here on the perfect day. There's a strike at the plant, and it's no wonder. Rothwild runs this place like a prison. The stupid workers can't even get in without a time card. When the strike started, the butchers confiscated all the cards they could find. They've given the City Watch free rein to use force. If you ever wondered why I wanted out of the slums, here's your answer. There'll be other ways in, I'm sure of it. You don't mind if I tag along, right? Just to keep an old man safe. One last thing. I found something for you. I know you collect these. I'll be on the rooftops till you need me.
Right, there's a conversation going on down here which we need to listen to first and foremost.
Go on. Get off the property or we'll lock you up too.
You have to give me back my time card. I can't get back in. You had no right to take it.
Try and get past me, and I'll see you swinging from a meat hook.
Go home, mister. Orders are to confiscate those cards. No exceptions.
I hope you die weeping. All of you. I hope the plague gets you.
Alright. Now I can now I can talk a little bit about what just happened. So Billy Lurk, who is Dowd's second in command, she is kind of used basically to give you a little bit more of a sort of atmosphere and a sort of story immersion as you play the levels. If you go to certain areas, the like, Lurk will blink in front of you and tell you something that she's seen or something about the area that you're in or that you're approaching. This is combined with Dowd's own voiceover, which is something they obviously used this DLC to test out before they decided to actually implement it fully into Dishonored 2. Of course, both of the playable characters in Dishonored 2, Corvo and Emily, are fully voiced. And Corvo, of course, by the legendary Stephen Russell, who is the voice of Garrett in Thief. So this, when I first played it, really reminded me of Thief, in the sense that Garrett kind of whispers to himself when he's in certain situations, and it really adds to the kind of immersion, and it builds his character and leaves him less ambiguous. That was a big problem with the main sort of storyline of Dishonored, was that Corvo kind of does feel morally ambiguous, and of course that is in line with the way that you can choose to play. But with Dowd, they really just unravel a bit of the mystery around him by letting you play as him and him talking, so that's really awesome. Now this guy who's been denied entry,
All these rats crawling all over everything.
he's just sort of wandering around there. So let's have a look at some of Dowd's powers, right? So what we start with is Blink, which you've seen. We have some Choke Dust, which is like a smoke grenade. I don't really see us using that too often. Grenades, of course, we won't use. And we have the Wrist Bow with bolts and sleep darts. So you can see it's on the inside of his wrist. It's somewhat different to Corvo's crossbow. I kind of like it. And of course, Dowd has one of the assassin blades that Corvo uses in the flooded district during the period of time when he doesn't have his retracting blade. So for a bit of continuity, we have that assassin blade there, which is quite nice. The other thing we have is Void Gaze, right? And, oh yeah, it's going to explain it here. Press left trigger to see in the dark and to help you locate bone charms and runes. With this power equipped, the mark of the outsider on Dowd's hand will light up when you are facing a bone charm or a rune. Level 2 shows you important items through solid walls like security devices, ammo, coins and keys, as well as living beings. You can also see their fields of view, as well as a visual representation of the sounds you make. So, what that means is basically, because Dowd doesn't have a heart, you know, Corvo has Jessamine's heart, which is used to identify runes and bone charms, but Void Gaze is essentially Corvo's dark vision combined with the heart. So we can't use it to see patrolling guards through walls or anything like that until we upgrade it to level 2. At level 1, it gives us a sort of blue monochrome night vision, combined with the ability to see runes and bone charms. However, you see his hand lights up when I'm facing a certain direction. That's because there is a rune or a bone charm in that direction. And when we are within a certain range of them, a very, very small, very faint icon will appear. You can see just there is a bone charm somewhat close to me. Okay, I can finally get moving. I think I've done enough preamble here. I'm going to be dropping regular quick saves just because I haven't played this for some time, and I do remember it being very challenging compared to the original Dishonored. What I am going to do is go in where this guard comes from and subdue him. And I do need to try to remember that I don't... Huh. I need to remember that I don't have... Oh, I've already been seen. Well, fancy that. Okay. Who's seen me? Who's shooting at me? Oh, was there another... Okay, there was another guy inside. Right, well, in that case, I am just going to save scum here because... I'm not always going to do that. Quite often, I will just deal with those situations, but... What I could try and do, actually, is blink up there and go downstairs. That's probably a better idea, isn't it? Rat poison. We need to rid the sewer of the rat infestation. Make sure you set this crate of potted meat aside so we can lace it with rat poison. After it's poisoned, take it down to the docks so we can get into the sewers below. Captain Galloway. The Mull of Galloway, where I drove through yesterday on my way back from the Scottish Highlands. A beautiful, beautiful place. If ever you get the opportunity, definitely go there. Anyway, because our void gaze does not allow us to see enemies through walls at the moment, I've got to play it somewhat cool here and hope that I don't get ambushed from behind by a patrolling guard. Now, I did have a rune. Yes, I have 1 rune and it costs 2 to upgrade. I can also get the higher jump for 1 rune. I'm wondering, should I do that? No, I'm going to get a void gaze first, I think, unless I particularly need the extra jump. Whereas, of course... Oh dear. That was close. Now, I need to remember I don't have the quick choke bone charm that I had for most of playing Dishonored. I'm much more familiar with Dishonored than I am with its expansions. I haven't played them nearly as much as I would like to have. There is another guard out on there. So I'm going to very carefully set this guy down. I get his gun, which I'm not going to use. Have a look out here. Okay, I'm just going to check. When this guy comes back, I will do the same. That's not what I wanted. Hopefully when he comes back here, he won't see this fella's body. If he does, I will have to subdue him quite quickly. Hopefully he won't come inside here either. Okay, it would appear he's just sticking to this bridge.
Things are bad.
Or not.
Could the city get any worse?
Chances are very good.
So like I say, I'm going to have to play it quite slowly and try and collect things for a while at the start of this playthrough. Once I have the powers I need, I'm just going to look at what that is. I need both Void Gazes, I need Blink 2, I need Bend Time 1 and 2, I need Agility 1 and 2. So I am going to have to get quite a few runes. But there are some that we don't need to use, like Summon Assassin. And Summon Assassin basically drops in an assassin via Blink who will fight the person that they are dropped beside. So that's used obviously in High Chaos. This is, of course, one of the only problems with this, is that your options for Low Chaos playthroughs are severely limited compared to your options for High Chaos. That is something they have addressed directly with Dishonored 2, but it is a problem in this game, and there are more problems with the original Dishonored than there are with these expansions for it. So they basically addressed every single issue apart from that with this one. And yeah, if I had the extra agility, I could have just hopped over there. But now, of course, if you there's a rune over there. If you upgrade your agility with Corvo, then you get a double jump. That is also slightly tweaked with Dowd to just be a super high jump, which again feels somewhat different. There is a Weeper corpse. And some Rattykins. I noticed there was also... Yes, there is a bone charm inside this building. And there are some patrolling guards over there. There is also a wall of light, an arc pylon, just over that way. So what I'm going to have to do is disable that in order to get this bone charm. Oh my god. That was very close. Pop that down there. At least now we know that there is a butcher inside that building, and butchers are one of the new enemy types who we find. Oh, okay. That guy was alerted. I think he's alright. I'm wondering if we can get in on the top of this building and go downstairs. Yes, we can. And there is a guard right there. Oh dearie me. You know what? I haven't used any yet, so I figured I would use one. Why not? Regular bullets, a health elixir, some more bullets, excerpt from a butcher's journal. That is way too long for me to be bothered reading. Some coin. Here we are with some wanted posters of course, from characters from Dishonored. Slackjaw, Corvo Etano. Slackjaw we basically left to die at the hands of Granny Rags when we played as Corvo. I didn't want to kill Granny Rags in order to rescue him, although I did want to rescue him. I didn't want to kill anyone during that playthrough, so I just left it to left him to be killed by her. So these guys are very tough if you take them on in combat, but in the case of just subduing them stealthily, they are just the same. However, inside the slaughterhouse we have butchers who are tooled up for the slaughter of the whales, and what that means is they have armour and they have these buzzsaw things. They are... you don't want to deal with them in face-to-face combat. They are extremely difficult, so we will need to be stealthily avoiding those guys as much as we can. Now, there was a bone charm somewhere in this building. Some brined hagfish, which we do not need. Pouch of coins. I do also need to be getting the coin... Oh, just hit my microphone there. I do also need to be getting the coins. Here is a bone charm. Carrion killer. Killing rats gives you some adrenaline. Well, that's going to be of absolutely no use to us, but I will equip it nonetheless. Okay, the safe code and the main entrance are both in a that-way direction. There is also a rune in that direction, I believe. Yes, just over there. I think I remember that rune. I think it's quite easy to get. Now, one thing that they did improve, I will say it's definitely an improvement in this over the original, is basically the number of different options you have for tackling the missions in both high and low chaos. It's dramatically increased in this. And there are so many different ways just to get into the slaughterhouse, let alone to... I see. Yoink. There are so many different ways just to get into the Slaughterhouse, let alone to eliminate Bundry Rothwild, who is the target of this mission.
This is a reminder that collective bargaining in any industry deemed vital to the state is a capital offense. These include metallurgy.
There's a man out on the river watching the place. If I weren't so young and pure of heart, I'd suggest he's up to no good.
For clarification and enforcement.
So there we see one of the moments I was mentioning where we see Billy Lurk appear and give us intel. She's essentially playing the area in the same way that we are. She's exploring stealthily. She finds things which are of interest to us, and then when we reach the appropriate location, she will materialise and share the information. So she's told us something there which is of interest. This room is also of interest to us. This is one of the places that we saw, like in the original Dishonored, of where Granny Rags has been. So Granny Rags does have a part to play in this game as well. Granny's recipe. A page torn from an old manuscript, written in a scrawling hand. The port side eye of whale, newly dead. Plop it in the pot, grisly and red. Weeper, weeper, weeps no more, lay to rest on blood-etched floor. Do this for me, dearie, and I'll give you a birthday treat. Granny. So this is like a side mission. We don't have to do this at all.
I used to tell stories about a woman in the slums who did work like this. Granny Rags. They said she was 100 years old.
Thanks, Billy. So this is like a side mission, and Granny will reward us in exactly the same way as she did to Corvo in Dishonored with runes. So that is in our interest. Now, in this mission, her recipe goes throughout the 3 missions of this story, The Knife of Dunwall. And in this mission she wants a whale eye.
Public warning. Corvo Atana, the assassin and one-time royal protector, has escaped from confinement and is at large within the city. Any sightings of this state criminal must be reported to the City Watch at once.
So yeah, she in this mission she wants 2 ingredients. She wants the port side or left side eye of a dead whale, and she wants the corpse of a weeper. And there was a weeper corpse down in this alleyway, if I remember correctly. So I'm going to pop down here. I'm also going to quick save, just because I haven't done so for a while. And we can deliver this first of all. And the port side eye of a whale is going to be somewhat more difficult to get hold of. This is also going to be somewhat of a challenge to get back into that room, because we can't mantle when we are carrying a body. The occult markings which are pointed out here, they are like a thing which we can interact with to absorb the Weeper corpse into her recipe, so we don't have to somehow break it apart and crush it all into that tiny cooking pot. Should be safe to go upstairs here, and then we should be able to blink across at a similar elevation. Meet Death, Bones and Song. No way, not reading that. Shit. Damn it. I think he's okay. He seems alright. So, how are we going to do this? Well, I may actually need to take agility. I'm going to do that actually because I want it anyway. I'll take agility. You can jump higher by holding A. At level 2 you can sprint much faster. So what we have instead of Corvo's double jump is like just a really high jump. We may be able to somehow get onto the rooftops by this means. If I can get up onto this walkway, that would be quite useful. There we go. So start. Oh dear. Blink. Yes. Okay, this is it. So it's quite nice that even though this is like a... You know, the corpse is very close to where it needs to be delivered. You still have somewhat of a challenge to get back into there because you can't mantle.
Rounds pending her interrogation and execution for sedition and treason.
Another NPC there. Okay, occult markings. Where's that? Place the weep corpse near the occult markings. Done. Now we just need the Waylai, which we're going to get later. There is a wall of light here, and there is a butcher and a guard. So, it's going to be quite difficult to get through this unless we just do that. Really, really nice environment design here. I think even better than Dishonored. These like whale corpses being dragged up these, chained up and just really gruesome. They're all the whale ships with whales loaded onto them waiting to be delivered to the slaughterhouse.
So you know the Regent doesn't give a shit who wins your little labor dispute. The Regent...
There's that dude on a boat who was mentioned. Shall we speak to him? I guess we probably shall. I will just, I can't actually remember what this guy's used for, so we can have a look. There's also something collectible stood on this whale carcass, which is pretty gross.
You're
Dowd.
Dowd. Shit, I hope you ain't here for me. I'm just a little fish in a big pond.
I want to know about a ship. The Delilah.
Yeah, I heard of it. Listen, maybe we can help each other out. I work for a very rich man who's keen on seeing Rothwild's business go belly up. This whole business with the strike, our doing. We got a mole on the inside, lady pretending to run the labor crews, a real talent. She could lie straight to the High Overseer's face and get away with it. We were supposed to meet up last night. I've been spying on the place all day waiting to hear word. Only I haven't seen or heard a peep. I was about to shove off. If you're here to make a little mayhem anyway, maybe you could find her. If she's still alive, she'd be able to get you everything you need to know about that ship. No question. And a substantial reward besides. Her name's Abigail Ames.
So she was the girl who was mentioned in the tannoy thing there. I will take your ammunition, sir. I'm not going to use it, but you certainly aren't, now that I have taken it. So, get a bit of a closer look here at these whales. It's just so, like, grim. It was always alluded to in Dishonored how everything in the city is powered by these whales and their oil. But how the oil is extracted from them does not become apparent to us until this mission, and it's pretty dark. And there is a guy, a butcher, on this dock here. Don't think there's anything collectible. Oh no, there is. What is there? Ah, a bone charm right down there. Okay. Well, I guess we can have a look for that. We will use blink. Need to be wary of this fella. Hopefully there won't be too many of those hagfish guys to chew a brother up. I can get out here. Might be able to take a closer look at where it is. 11 meters in this direction. Interesting.
Any worker found trying to add, interfere with, or free captive livestock will be charged with treason.
Looks like I might have to go down on it from above. Go down on it. Not in that way, you dirty-minded fucker. Right. What I am going to do is go for the rune, which I know where it is, basically. This area is extremely dangerous. And I'm going to have to blink. Yes, immediately away. Because there are guards everywhere. This is the entrance. Where's this conversation coming from? What they were talking about was arc mines, which are a new item in this game. And they are, again, used lethally, but there is a non-lethal equivalent of them in Dishonored 2 called stun mines, I believe. You can stick them on surfaces, and they act like spring razors, give an electric shock to whoever is in a certain proximity of them. Very, very cool little item, but again, we won't be using them. I think up there behind that red curtain is where the rune is. There is a dockside area over there where there are some NPCs being held prisoner. We have the option, if we want to rescue them. I don't know if we're going to do that or not. I haven't actually really planned how I'm going to play this. Just non-lethally is my the only thing that's guiding my hand. I guess we'll just see what happens. I think I should be able to get in from over here.
Abigail Ames is considered an enemy of the state and will be punished accordingly. Do not waste your loyalty on her.
What loyalty would that be exactly?
The Slaughterhouse butchers are locking workers in the pump control station by the docks. If you could get in there, I bet the workers would tell you just about anything you wanted to know.
So there we go, that's another option. The one I was just talking about the people being held prisoner down in the docklands. I don't know if we want that or not. Grab this rune though, we definitely want that. So I need one more in order to get Void Gaze 2. Definitely want that next though. And we did of course pay for the favour which dumps a rune in a sewage pipe. But we can't get that until we're inside. We need to get the safe code next.
Under plague conditions, failure to report for work at industries deemed vital to breed interests has been declared treasonous by the Lord Regent.
The Lord Regent would know all about treasonous, wouldn't he? The safe code is scrawled on the wall behind this wooden thing. So I think... There we go. 318. 318. 318. 318. Hup. Luckily I didn't attract any attention by loudly smashing that to pieces. So we'll go back and grip that now. There are some guards in here, as I recall, as well. Oh no, this is Granny's cooking pot. It's around this side. I think we have to go out the other side, possibly. Let's see. No! Wow, that was close.
This is a reminder that
over the top.
bargaining in any industry deemed vital to the state is a capital offense. These include metallurgy, whale collection and refinement, security services, and selected legal and clerical specializations. Consult the city barrister for clarification and enforcement.
I'm sure that's somewhere. Ah, there it is. Yeah, this balcony.
Now what?
Oh dear, okay. So we're going to have to sweep dart this fella. I think there's no one else there. That's fine. That could have gone worse. And better.
After this morning, we're taking away time cards on site. Nobody gets in or out without those things. Time to send a message.
So this is where the time cards are being confiscated. There is a large thing about Slaughterhouse Row. I'm not going to read it, don't have time. 318 was the combination. So, there we go. Inside we find a blueprint, small-scale explosive refinement. So that's an explosive bolt for the wrist bow, which we won't be using. And we have the time card, which is our way into... gold ingot, some sleep darts. Not bad at all. Worth the investment for the favour at the start of the mission, seeing as how it's almost paid for itself just with that gold ingot. That looks like a dangerous way out. I'm wondering if I can get back... this way. Okay, there was still that bone charm down here. I'm wondering how I can get to that. It may be under this.
This is a public warning. Corvo Atana, the assassin and one-time royal protector, has escaped from confinement and is at large from the city. Any sightings of this state criminal must be reported to the City Watch at once.
I'm wondering there might be a way down through this building to where that bone charm is underneath. I can't immediately see anything, but if I'm going to do Granny's recipe, then I may need to... well, I will need to come back here anyway. So I'll probably just go inside, to be quite honest. Big thing about arc mines, which we will find soon enough. And here is the time stamp machine. Enter Slaughterhouse.
Rothwild's got a stubborn reputation. I doubt asking nicely is going to work. We'll have to find a more persuasive means of getting what you want out of him. He's probably close to his office. We should start there.
Have you been in the chair already?
Yes, but I signed right away. Mr. Rothwell didn't even have to turn it on.
I don't believe you.
No, it's true.
Is he calling you a liar?
That's what it sounds like. I want to teach you to respect me. That went a little deep. It was only supposed to scare him. Oops.
Well, he did look scared. Just at the end there.
Break's over, looks like.
When's this day gonna end?
So that's our introduction to the Armoured Butchers. Very, very dangerous indeed. We will deal with them in the next episode. I'm going to end this one right here. Thank you very much for watching it. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave me a like, as that does help me. And I will see you in the next one for more Dishonored, the Knife of Dunwall. Take care, and goodbye.